Hi there, Sparkrock community. We're happy to introduce version 22.6 for Sparkrock 365 2023 Release Wave 1. Now, note for our amazing finance and procurement customers. This release is focused on new HR management features. We're cooking up new finance features that'll be released soon, but if you're a Sparkrock 365 finance and procurement customer, you are of course more than welcome to keep watching. We'd love to have you. But if you want a few minutes back in your day, you've now got it. Some jurisdictions require HR reporting with more granular data than Sparkrock 365 has traditionally supported. For example, school boards in British Columbia are required to provide an employment data and analysis system, aka EDAS, report to the BC Public School Employers Association and the Ministry of Education. A Sparkrock 365 customer can get part of the way there with Power BI reports, but it's difficult and doesn't contain all the data that's needed. This is because traditionally Sparkrock 365 has captured attendance and payroll information at the employee level. Most of the time that's totally fine and is all you need, but in certain cases it does have some limitations. Here's an example. Miss Gina is an employee of the Port George School District. The kids love her, she loves working with kids, and in fact she loves it so much, she has 2 positions with the school district. A teacher assistant at Lakewood Elementary and a supervision aide at 8th Avenue Elementary. Because the jobs are different, she has different attendance plans for each. As a teacher's assistant, she has 10 days vacation, 5 personal days, and 2 bereavement days. But as a supervision aide, she has 5 sick days, 2 personal days, and 1 bereavement day. Now, some questions come up if you need to report this. How does the system know what hours should be taken from which balance when there's an absence? And how do you report on which absence has been taken from which job if everything is saved at the employee level? Well, to answer these questions, Sparkrock 365 has introduced the optional role-based absence feature. Sparkrock 365 now supports linking an attendance plan for each employee assignment. You can now record data like HR position, location, and union when an absence is taken. The employee or administrator can now select the assignment when an absence is requested, and the system now supports recording employee assignment information with payroll ledger entries. Now, as mentioned, role-based absence is completely optional and is disabled by default. If you don't need to track and record attendance plans for each employee assignment, we recommend just leaving it off. However, if you do need to use it, you can enable role-based absences on the advanced HR setup screen, and we're going to show you that in a moment. You'll be given some information on what will happen if you enable it, but just be aware if you do enable role-based absences, one key thing to know is that your users will need to select an assignment every time they request an absence. So make sure you review the release notes for more detail on everything involved in enabling role-based absences. With all that being said, now let's take a look at some of the changes in Sparkrock 365 if role-based absences is enabled. Here we are on an employee card, and if we go to navigate assignments, we can see that this employee has 2 assignments, case manager and a part-time lifeguard. However, if we take a look at their attendance plan, so we'll go to process, attendance plan, you can see that their attendance plan code is hourly and they have their attendance plan lines here. However, there's no way to specify which assignment this attendance plan should be for. It's all or nothing. So to fix that, we're going to go to the advanced HR setup. And the easiest way to do that is to go up here to the Tell Me menu, search for advanced HR setup. And if we scroll down, you can see that there is the attendance plan fast tab. If we open that up, there's this new role-based absences setting. So we're going to turn that on. And it's going to give us a warning. It will give the ability for administrators to assign attendance plan on the assignment level. That's what we want. It will allow the system to set assignment numbers for every cause of absence. Again, that's what we want. It will enforce a user to select an assignment every time a user requests an absence. So this is something to be aware of. Anytime a user requests an absence, they will have to choose which assignment that absence is for. So that's something you really want to keep in mind if you're going to enable this. And then it will register the assignments detail on the absence registration table. Now, I want all this because I'm making this video, so I am going to turn it on. However, really recommend that you only turn this on if this is functionality that you need. And you'll want to check out the release notes for more information on all of this. I'm going to hit OK. And now you can see role-based absences is enabled. So if we go back to our employee card here, and if we go process attendance plan, you can see that we have this new field, employee assignment entry number, and it's currently selected the case manager assignment. So now we're able to see our attendance plan lines for our case manager assignment. However, when we select the ellipses here, you'll be able to choose which assignment you want. So I'll choose this lifeguard assignment. And now you can see we're looking at the attendance plan for this employee as a lifeguard, assignment entry number 194. There's this new field here, HR employee entry number on the attendance plan lines, and it's showing us our attendance plan lines for the lifeguard assignment. And if we want to see all of the attendance plan lines, we just need to clear this field out, hit enter, and now you can see we can see the attendance plan lines for both 192 and 194, our case manager and our lifeguard. And likewise, if we go back to the employee card, go to the employee's assignments, we'll take a look at this lifeguard assignment. And if we scroll down, the assignment card will now show the attendance plan code and absence calendar and weekly work schedule for that employee assignment. Now let's take a look at requesting or registering an absence, and we'll start in Sparkrock 365. Let's take a look at the absence request page in Sparkrock 365, and we'll do that using the bookmark on the Role Center. And we'll create a new absence request. And you can see that when we select our employee number and we give it a from and to date, we now have this new field, HR employee assignment entry number, and it's required. And from here, we have to select which assignment this absence request is for. So let's say we want to assign it for the lifeguard. And now the cause of absence codes for the lifeguard are listed here. If we go back and we switch it to our case manager assignment, and we go to cause of absence, we now will have a whole different list of causes of absence that we can then select and then put in our absence request. Same with absence registrations. I have our employee selected here. We'll put in our from and to date. And same deal, we have this new column, HR employee assignment entry number. We select our HR position, and then we can select the cause of absence that is applicable for that assignment. Let's say that it's witness duty, and then we can fill out the rest of the entries. If we were to choose a different assignment here, we would have a whole different set of cause of absence that we would then need to choose. Now in my Sparkrock, when an employee goes to attendance and requests, you can see there's a new assignment/position field. That controls which balance the employee sees. Now, when requesting an assignment, again, there's a new assignment/position field, and the employee has to choose the position they're requesting their absence for. Remember that turning on role-based absences means that all employees will have to do this every time. Now, it stands to reason that when you hire an employee or change an assignment, you'll now need to tell Sparkrock 365 which attendance plan should be used for that assignment. For example, let's do a new hire request. I'm here in HR requests. I'll go new, set the reason code to new hire, set the effective date. We'll go up here to process details. And when you select the HR position code, I'll select case manager here. When you scroll down now, there's a new attendance management fast tab, and it automatically gets populated with the default attendance plan, approval group, weekly work schedule, and absence calendar for that HR position. But even though they're defaults, you can of course change them when needed. And now when you process all steps, this new HR employee assignment entry number field gets automatically populated on the employee attendance plan page and everywhere else where the attendance plan gets referenced. And finally, when you're in the compensation journal and you're ready to send to payroll, there's a new assignment entry number and assignment title that appear in the compensation ledger. You can see here we have lines for both weeks and for each assignment, so that when you send it to payroll, you have your assignment information ready to report on. So that's role-based absences. Now I'll quickly show you the first use of role-based absences, which is the EDAS report for school boards in beautiful British Columbia. To support EDAS reporting, there's some new fields that have been added to a number of screens. Now, I'm not going to list them all out here because they're in the release notes, and it's a one-time setup that your Sparkrock 365 consultant will help you perform. The screens that have changed are location card, HR position card, unions, qualifications, assignment types, ground for terminations, and finally, causes of inactivity has an EDAS working status field. There's a new EDAS data exchange definition that you can get to from the Data Exchange Definitions screen. There's a new EDAS setup screen that includes fields that let you configure the data that will be populated on the EDAS worksheet, which we'll show in a moment. You enter the school district number and then select the Sparkrock 365 field to match to that column. When you have the EDAS setup completed, you then go to the EDAS report worksheet screen. Select Home and then Load Lines, and then you can choose the date period and filters that you want to run it for. When you finish, the worksheet will populate, and then you can adjust any data needed and use the worksheet check in the fact box. In this example, the school district number is missing from the first line. Of course, in real life, it is rarely the first line that has the problem, so there are Show Lines with Errors and Show Lines with Warnings filters you can use to find the culprits. Then when you're ready, go to Home and Create File. You can then download the CSV file and it's ready to submit. Adding role-based absences functionality adds a huge amount of flexibility to HR reporting in Sparkrock 365. And as you've seen, the first example of this is the EDAS report for school boards in British Columbia. Thanks so much for watching.